Hey, welcome back everybody. We're now going to do a new video that you've been waiting for. It's painting oil over acrylics. All right. Sorry, I know I was supposed to get this video out to you guys a while ago, but obviously we're having a little crisis with COVID and the variant. I myself, as a hospital worker, I work with babies, and this COVID has been like pretty much rampant, and I've been working a lot of overtime. So I was not able to get this video out to you as fast as I wanted to, but nonetheless, here I am, and we're gonna do this video together. Now you can paint oil over acrylics, but you cannot paint acrylics over oils. Just remember that. And before we start, I want to say thank you for all your support and all of you that have donated to my channel. I'm grateful to you and all your support. It helps me continue on with these videos for you guys. And like I said, I do this free of charge for you guys whenever I can. I'm not going to do a Patreon. You're free to look at the videos full length at any time. So without further ado, let's get started with this painting. So I'm going to start the video. We're going to do a painting in acrylics. All right, so let me just draw my where everything's going to go approximately. We're going to have our bottom of the horizon line about here. There's going to be a big tree here, another branch going there, and then more foliage. Let me move that off a little bit here, more to the side. There you go. And there's going to be some trees back here. There's going to be another big tree sitting right along right here. Something like that. And it's going to be like a river bank, basically. Like that, and then just more foliage this way like that. So on my palette, what I have for you, I'm using, not promoting these now, I paid for these paint with my own money. I'm using these golden fluid acrylics. Okay, that's what I'm using right now. So I won't be able to show you my palette. Well, I'm going to show you my palette, but you won't see the mixing for the acrylic part. Okay, you will see when I do the rest of it in oils, I will have the oil colors up here, and I will mix the paint for you guys so you can have something to look at. So that's what we're going to do. But let me show you the palette, what I have with the fluid acrylics. I don't need very much because these fluid acrylics spread really well. I have, which yellow is this? Diarylide. Okay, Diarylide yellow is what I have here. Magenta, quinacridone magenta is what I have. Quinacridone magenta, ultramarine blue, burnt umber. You can see how it's runny. And titanium white. These are the colors I'm going to be using to start off this painting. Okay, you won't see the mixing, but I apologize. This is just so that we reduce time a little bit. So, and I'll tell you the colors that I'm mixing. I'm going to be using a number 8 flat. Okay, and this is a Pro White. Can you see that? Probably not. There you go. A Pro White, number 8 flat. We're just gonna paint really fast, block in the big shapes, okay? And then what's gonna happen once I do that, we're gonna go and onto the oils once this dry, and then just go right at it. So here we go. Let's put some ultramarine blue and a little bit of diarylide yellow and maybe a little bit of quinacridone magenta. All right, to get like a nice dark color here, just like that. Now I'm just looking at my my picture, which you will see on the corner of your screen somewhere. Okay. So just putting in the, splashing on the big shapes. And then we're going to go with some midtones. And so the gist of this is just not, is that when I start painting using the oils, I'm not going to be painting the whole entire painting in oils. Just the parts that I want to accentuate, just the parts that I really want to accentuate in the painting, you know, or wherever I feel like I need a heavy coating of oils, where some spots that I want smooth, or what have you. The reason behind that is that there's some things that are acrylics that can achieve. So, and there's things that oils cannot. Well, oils can, but what I'm trying to do here is, because acrylics dry fast, so by it drying really fast, it allows me to go on with the next layers in oils, and just finish the painting that much faster. So it's convenient for those, you know, who are on a deadline that have to do a painting or commission, what have you. You can start your painting in acrylics and then go back over it in oils. So that's the beauty of it. Plus, the nice thing about acrylics is that you could do some really nice thin washes on your painting, and have some really nice effects, and then go back over it with oils, certain parts of it, not all parts of it, and just keep some of these effects that you want. So basically, that's, you know, the reason why some people would want to do oils over acrylics, is because, one, the blendability and some of the effects that both worlds can offer. So some darks here, some darks there. So I'm just painting real quick where I see some darks. Okay, right here. All right. And then we're gonna have let's do part of the tree here. And then the other part. As you notice, I'm not very particular in how this looks as of yet. So let me see. I'm drawing part of the tree here with my brush. Notice how the acrylics don't cover as well as the oils do. Now, I would have to go with, you know, do 2 coats of acrylics to probably, you know, what I could achieve with 1 coat in oils. So right now, basically, I'm just putting in some of the approximate values that I'm looking at in the paintings. You can see I'm just going over some of the darks that I already did. It's just, you could tell the difference here between, it's the same color now. Look at here, how dark it is, and how much, a little bit like 1 value lighter over here, because I don't have these darks behind there. So that's just to show you the effects of what a base color will do to the colors that are on top of it. Okay, a lot lighter. Same here, look at that, a little bit darker. 1 value lighter. Okay, So, and it'll get better when you see the oil paint, when the oil starts coming out. This will show accentuate some of the darks here. I do this now so I don't have to do it with the oils later. Okay, let's do the tree trunk. Work on that. There's a tree trunk here somewhere. And there's another one here. Accentuate those darks a little bit, go back over them. Orangey pinks. So I'm using red and yellow. Quinacridone red and yellow here. Maybe a little bit of blue mixed into it. We're gonna do the reflections of certain parts of the water here. And the tree itself is like this orangey color. So I'm adding some blue to that orange. And this is some of the shadows that's casting on this tree. So adding them now. And the painting may look like really thin right now, and that's with purpose. Okay, because I don't mind leaving some of the ground color showing through. That's going to help with the highlights later. Okay, all this ground that you see, you can see it shining through some of it. Okay, and that's quite all right because that will only add into the effects later. Okay. Or should I say visual effects at least. So now I'm just putting the approximate value of the colors I see in the water. Now, as you can see, I really don't care too much for what. I'm just doing approximate value, meaning the approximate color of what I see in the water, and I'm doing it like really thin. Okay, some of that right here. Let's do a little bit of shadow. Because it's in shadow, part of this overhang that's going to be here, these branches, I'm making it like a cool color. Some of this stuff does not make sense right now, but it will very soon when we start getting to the oils. There's these leaves here on this side. Leaves drop in here as well. That's my daughter typing away, playing her games. Funny, huh, Marissa? Okay. Now let's start with the sky. Let's drop some of that green over here. You see, you don't have to be perfect. And I don't have to put everything that I see either. Some of the bank. The edge of the water here, there's like a little sandy bank. And yes, you can paint over what you just did. Not a problem. Okay. And it's almost, this whole sandy bank is almost the same color as the tree. Put some shadows where need be. Some here. Now I'm going to do as much as I can in acrylics and do the rest in oils. That's the thing. Now you can do as much or as little as you want in acrylics and then finish the rest in oils. I could do the whole sky in oils if I want. I don't have to do it in acrylic to start it out. But it'll be nice to have a plan, okay? Basically almost building myself a roadmap to see what it looks like in acrylic to see if I like it, so that when I go over in oils, I could change things up if I want to. I have that leeway, okay? So let me do the sky. Let's do the sky. Ultramarine blue I'm using for the sky. And maybe add a slight hint of yellow into that sky and a slight quinacridone red. You could add some sky holes now while you're at it. Add it now, you could add it later, doesn't matter. I'm just adding it now because the paint's pretty much dry. Dries pretty quickly. Maybe do a cloud here. Now for the clouds, I just used yellow, a little bit of quinacridone magenta, just to make it a little bit lighter than the sky and gray down that cloud a little bit. Okay, and notice some of the colors are I'm letting come through. You see some of this, all these pocket holes of burnt sienna showing through. That's fine, you know, it just adds to the warmth of the painting and the visual effect of the painting. Let's put some more sky holes here and there, just to break down some of this monotonous big shape. Okay, let's go here, put a few sky holes. I'm not going to concentrate too much on these sky holes for now, but there you go. Just break up this tree a little bit, break up this whole mess, as a matter of fact. There you go, just like that, and a few little spots. And we could always add them back later if we want, you know. And I see there's some reflection in the water of the sky. Okay, boom. Okay. Now you can see it's starting to look like something. And this, from the recording, took about 18 minutes to do. All right, I just laid down the foundation of what's to come. Basically a roadmap. I know this is going to be lighter, this is going to be darker areas, what have you. Shadow line, some of the river banks. I just added quickly, okay, not detailed. Don't do any details, just quickly add what you see real fast that your eyes capture. Wherever your eyes focuses, usually it's a point of interest, okay? So you might want to add these parts in. So you can add and leave what you don't want in there. So as you can see, I put myself a roadmap of the trees here, a little bit of the sky, and see the effects of this bleeding effects of how the sky. Let me see if I can bring this closer. You see how some of this background color showing through, okay? That might come in handy when I do the oils, or if I don't want it there, I just paint it over in oils, you know, make it darker or lighter, however I wish to do it. It's all up to you, okay? So now I'm just going to set up my oils, and then we're going to get started with this. Okay, so now I've laid out my oil colors over here so you can see some of the mixing. I know you guys enjoy watching mixing. So let me bring that a little bit like this. Okay. All right. So let's start with the colors that I have. And these are from various brands. I'm not using one particular brand in particular. So this is just for demo. So I'm using Cad Yellow. And this is Cad Yellow Medium, Alizarin Crimson, Cerulean, Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Burnt Umber, and Titanium White. Okay, sorry if my voice is a little bit like off. I'm just like a little bit tired from working all these shifts, these 12-hour shifts, but anyway, no excuses. All right, so let's start. I also have a little bit of medium here. What I have in here is Gamsol and a little bit of linseed oil mixed together, okay? The ratio is about 70% Gamsol, which is an odorless mineral spirit, and I have 30% linseed oil, okay? I have in a mixed bottle here that I have. Let me show you. Okay, I mixed it myself, so 30% linseed oil or stand oil, whatever you want, and the rest of this is just odorless mineral spirit. What that does is helps with the drying speed of the paint, so I can layer on top of it quicker, okay? Or at least I'll tack up the paint faster, so I could like softly put thicker paints on top, okay? And usually by the next day I could start doing a second layer, the next day or the second day after that, I can start putting another layer on top of these paints without a problem, because the drying is like really quickly. Anywho, let's start. What do I want to use? Okay. Let's start with some of the foliage, and then we're going to go into the cloud space, okay? And then we'll work at the rest. All right, let's start with the tree. I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue and maybe a little bit of cad yellow. Touch of medium, not, well, that was not nice. Live blooper, okay. And maybe there's a little hint of red inside. There you go. So just adding some of these colors where I see them. There's some leaves here, but they're in a cool shaded colors. I know you can't see all of it yet, but you will. So right now we're just basically doing mid-tone colors. And I'm using a fat brush, okay? This is a round brush, a number 2. This is by Princeton Polytips. I'm using a fat brush, and what this fat brush is gonna do is help stop me from getting too detailed with my paintings. Well, with this painting in particular, that's what it's gonna do. It's going to help just tamper down my wanting to get too detailed, okay? And notice I'm not going over everything, just some parts. There you go. There's some of that here as well. Some greener greens. And notice I'm letting some of the background show. And I'm not going for highlights yet. Just mid-tone yellows. Some cooler greens back here. If you want to mute down your greens, use red, okay, to mute down some of your greens here. Because eventually you're going to put highlights, and nothing better than muted colors, and then you add your highlights to them. Okay. All right. And you will see how this will develop. That's some highlights here. some darker greens here. And some darks I see in the corner right here. Let some of the colors mix together, it's not a problem. All right. Reinforce some of the darks here. Maybe a little bit more on the reddish side. Orangey kind of. Reinforce this a little bit. Add some warmth here. Okay. Goes up in here. All right. I can see some light shades of purples in here. So let's add ultramarine blue, a little bit of crimson. Some really grayed down purples here. Ugh, a little bit too light. Let's darken this up a little bit. Add some green to that purple, gray it down. Perhaps here somewhere too. Gray some of this down. Okay, I'm trying to see where else in the picture I need some of this color. Okay. Now, since I'm working in a tight space here, I'm gonna use this brush, the same brush, to do the sky with. Let's do a little bit of cerulean and a little bit of ultramarine together. Maybe a little bit of burnt umber to gray this sky down a little bit.
Wait, what was that? Was that a young box? I mean, what?
Let's see.
I'm not sure. She got it pushed up.
Maybe a little bit more ultramarine, because ultramarine has a little bit of red in it, and just give it like a warm sky. So now I'm just defining some of these areas. Now I made the color a little bit darker than initial, so you can see some of the cloud structures here, some of the cloud colors, and I could reinforce that cloud, but I really don't want to, because I like the effect that it has, that warm, cool white color. Well, warm, cool, same sense. Not warm, cool, but too dark. Yeah, I like that cloud structure like that. There you go. Actually, let me reinforce the clouds. Let's go with white and a hint of cad yellow light. Let's do that. And mix it down here with some of these colors. There you go. What you can't do with acrylic, you can do with oils. Well, you actually can, but it would take a lot of mixing. Let's put another cloud here, little guy up here. There you go, just like that. And actually I want to add like a little background tree line. So let's do that now. Let's use some of this mixture we have already here, sitting up here. Maybe a little bit of green, blue, burnt umber. Now remember, when it's in a distance, it's going to be more on the bluish side. Let's add these tree line back here. Not everywhere, just, you know, give it an indication of something back there. Okay, now we see like this, some kind of tree line. All right. Let's work on the water just a little bit. Add some of this dark brown that I see. Glaze over this. All right. There's some greens. I'm going to use some of these greens that I already did here. Add a lot of white to it, just to build a foundation of colors. It's really a mix of a whole bunch of colors together. This is a little bit more complex. This what I'm seeing. So some of that here as well. Let me see. There's some reddish brown notes. Mix all these colors together here. It's like a dirty green. I see. I'm just mixing everything kind of washed together. Okay. Let me reinforce this blue here, this shadow line. Perhaps even darker. Maybe add a little bit of burnt umber to really give it some strong shadows. And even some, oh man. Some darker areas back here somewhere. Yeah, there you go, just to show And we're gonna add, you know, like branches here going down. Just finding where the darker darks are. Some of you thinking, well, I should have done that earlier. Not really. Okay. I'm working a little bit everywhere on this painting, as you can see.
Let me paper over my leg.
I know there's some darks here on this tree. These branches here like that. All right. I'm not doing anything here for the moment because I'm just going to let it dry just a little bit, set up. So I'm just going to start working on the trees and then the leaves while the rest of the painting is setting up. Okay, so now I'm going to use another round brush. This is a number 1. Okay, so I'm just going to start working a little bit on hot. I missed something right here. Hold your horses, folks. But there's like some trees here on the banks. Not trees, but leaves. There you go. Okay. Now let's start putting in some highlights. All right, do some vary your stroke from one way to the other. Like I said, this doesn't have to be exactly what you see, just close enough. Okay, remember, this is a small canvas. I'm not here to make it look very detailed. I'm just doing approximately what I see. And if you find some parts are not showing off too much, you could, you know, go back in and put some darks. Let me show you what I'm talking about by, hold on. Right here, I could add some darks to reinforce some of these light colors. Like that. And I'm probably gonna even put lighter lights eventually. But for right now, we're just working on some of the mid-tone and highlights. I'm just gonna be mixing it up a little bit. Just shaping the tree the way I want it. Some of this cold green color. Some of the highlights I see. I'm just going back and forth. There's some And I'm using a pretty big brush for what I'm doing here. I'm using blue for some of the shaded branches here. A little bit of white. Now I don't have to put every leaf, just wherever I see cool and warm colors, that's where I'm adding. And if some of the leaves don't show off really good, then I could, you know, darken the background. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. These are all leaves in shade. Okay. Work some of these darks here. Let me make some darker greens here. See? Just like that. I can shape this. Add some cooler blues actually. Cooler greens. And the paint is actually thicker that I'm applying. Shaping some of these background trees here. Adding some darks where I feel I need them. Against some of these lighter greens. And you can see some of the highlights, well, not highlight, but the midtones are starting to show off a little bit more, you know, they're starting to come out a little bit more. Some darks here, darks there. Okay. Some darks here. All that with a big brush. I may use a smaller brush in a few minutes, but not now. All right, let me accentuate this tree here, this tree trunk. Make a nice dark color by using ultramarine blue, burnt umber, maybe a little bit of red. So I'm going to accentuate this tree branch. And the tree trunk. There's another branch going this way. See, that was nice about doing an acrylic, so I pretty much had a roadmap of where everything was going to go already. So it helps in that respect. Let's darken the back of that branch a little bit. Okay. Now let's start working on some of the highlights. Let's start with this tree here, and then we'll start with the leaves. And I feel like working a little bit on the riverbank here a little bit. Just switch it up. All right, let's do a little bit of yellow, red, or should I say alizarin crimson. Lots of white. Let's see how that's working out. Okay. Maybe a little bit more yellow, like a cooler yellow. More white. All right. Some of the cool colors back here, just to show about this tree. Now, because this is an orangey color, so I'm making like a dirty purple mix by using ultramarine blue and the alizarin crimson mixed with that. And just to shape this tree a little bit, give it some shadows. Notice I'm not painting the whole entire tree, right? Just wherever I feel like I need some of these accents of color. Okay. So the sunlight's coming like in this direction. So let's use a smaller brush now and start doing some highlights of color. So go with my cool colors here. All right, here we go. Light touches of color. Really light touches, follow the direction of the sunlight. Some cool colors here and there to show the leaves. I know there's some here as well on this. Little tree hedge here. There's actually some. All right, hold on. I gotta just notice the part that I didn't work out yet. There is some rubbish here. Okay, we're going to define that a little bit more in a few minutes. Now notice I'm not putting highlights on every leaf, just, well, that was a little bit too much. Add some cooler greens here off to the side. Same up here. Okay. All right. Highlight some of these background tree line here. Because they're all in big masses, so I'm just painting them as one such big masses. I'm not going to draw every single leaf. Add some cool colors between them. There you go. Just an impression. And let me add the sky there a little bit. Accentuate that sky a little bit more between the trees. All you gotta do is just remember the colors that you put down the first time. Cut through the trees here a little bit. Just be very conservative with all the sky holes. There you go. All right, let me work on some of these hedges here. Put a little bit of burnt umber just to tone down the highlights on these limbs here. Where some of the sun is hitting some of these leaves here. Same goes here. Let's reinforce some of the highlights on the banks. Just working on the reflections of that tree. So there's a lot of pushing and pulling going on here with this.
Oh, hello.
With this tree here. Just adding some nuances of reflection here and there. Make this, these brown colors that I see in the reflection. And notice I'm not going everywhere either. And I'm going to work on this blue eventually, so that's coming. Right now, just working on this water a little bit.
How does she have this stuff? Where does she get this?
Now I just got to reinforce some of the other colors. That was the importance of letting some of these colors set up so that they don't blend too much into each other, depending on the pressure that I put. If I want the colors to blend a lot together, then I just add a little bit more pressure to my brush and they will eventually blend together.
I wonder how much money they spent on this. Because this is a
Add some shadows.
I need to save up for $10,000 so I can do this.
Okay.
Or maybe it won't.
Let me reinforce some of this blue here. This is light from the sky. Okay. There's perhaps some here too. That's peeking from here. Okay, just like that. And there's some, let me see. Let me fix this right here. Okay. All right. A liner brush, just some twigs that are just falling in the water here. That's a medium. I'm gonna use this color here, just add a lot of white to it. Now there's some twigs coming down here. There's some twigs here as well. I want this paint to flow really good, so some branches. Don't have to be exact, just
Okay, so that's the person. He's rich. Okay, I'm glad he's educated.
some, give some indication.
Sky Castle after.
Branches here and there. And there's some here coming right down here. It's okay if some of the paint mixes with the bottom layer. All it does is it's going to create some nice shadow colors. Actually, I need to reinforce some of the darks down here. Let me use another small liner brush here. Let me reinforce some of that. Just going between these branches here, almost like doing sky holes. Same idea, same concept.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. Little nuances.
Are you ready, popcorn? Let's go to the Sky Castle. Oh, wait.
some darks between these
To the sky castle,
plants here.
and my recording stopped.
Mimi.
Just in time.
Give some highlights to that tree back here. Those trunks are kind of in shadow, so you won't see too much of highlights. That's a little bit too much. All right, so at least you know there's trunks back here. What else? Let me see. Let me do some reflection, some of these branches here. There's some dark parts of that river bank. I'm just using any kind of dark color sitting on my palette. Let me go for something more on the purplish side here. There's some I'm letting some of the colors mix together just to soften this up. Reinforcing some colors here. On this tree. And I guess we could add like, hold on, not done yet. Let me add some rank some of these.
Oh my god, that's the stupidest thing.
Just want to give some shape to this. I'm using thick paint.
What the heck?
There you go.
I need that. Oh my god.
Let me put a couple birds here and then I'll call it done. Just add a little bit of life to this. Add some really thick paint. Add another one. There you go. You know what? When do you call a painting done? Almost never. Just adding some really strong highlights on some of these branches here. Let me add some
It's like a motorcycle or a dirt bike. I need to get these done. I don't like me. I said that. And I don't
just shaping this up a little bit.
I don't like. Yes. Yes.
All right, I think I'm gonna call this done. I don't want to add too much more to this, otherwise I feel like I will ruin it. So we'll leave it at that. You know what? Let me add some cool blues here. Some of these trees and shadows here. Some of these. There you go.
Oh, I hate that song.
Okay. What do you guys think? I know this was a little bit long, but I wanted to show you guys from A to Z how to do a painting from acrylics and go over it with oils. So you got the whole thing from, you know, the background, starting the sketch, and how you lay out the painting like pretty loosely with your acrylics, just very, very loosely, and then go back over it with your oils. So this is great, like I said, for people who are on a deadline and you have a project due, and starting the painting in acrylics will really save you a lot of time, and you can get started with the next layers like really, really fast. So this was a small painting, so I had to keep it very, very loose and not to get too embroiled in details. As you can see, I'm pretty happy with it, and you got to see the whole enchilada. So if you have any questions or any comments about this painting or the materials or whatever, leave me a comment. And thank you guys again for all your support, and you know, waiting for this. I know you guys were waiting for this painting to come out, but I appreciate your patience So thank you very much. You guys have a great day. Please stay safe out there and have a great day. Well, let me just sign my name. But I gotta sign my name. But thank you again, guys. You have a good day.